Today's absolutely crazy and telekinetic matchup was conceived by the minds of Crossbody Pro Wrestling Academy. And this match was at their Family Day Feud 4 event on February 15, 2020 at the Kitchener in Ontario, Canada. We open our match and Danhausen makes his way to the ring where he has a tinfoil hat on, and he also just has a roll of aluminum foil that he then starts passing out to all the fans so that they can match with the man that everyone loves. Psycho Mike comes out and he is absolutely vibing to his entrance music, and they also say that this man is from
Psychoville! We got 215 pounds! Psycho!
Reno man, go back to the cave.
Not gonna lie, his music is pretty fire. If anyone knows it, please leave it in the comments. Psycho Mike starts going to each side of the ring, throwing his arms up and looking like he just shit his pants. We get a little bit of a bass bridge in the music and he starts laying pipe to the middle rope right before he does his constipated celebration one last time. Danhausen starts doing a little jig to the fans chanting his name, where the fans chant, Danhausen lays down in the middle of the ring and asks Mike to pin him now, which he quickly gets back up. We find out why Danhausen has that tinfoil hat.
Why are you wearing that hat?
To protect myself from your psychic powers, Psycho.
Whoa!
Mike says that he isn't psychic.
You go around calling yourself Psychic Mike.
It's Psycho Mike!
Ah.
That's not even... And that's just like a stupid wrestling name! I'm not even Psycho! Are you trying to tell me that for the last 10 years, I've actually been psychic and it's only becoming relevant now? That's poppycock!
I swear?
I hope not.
I pass, we're pass.
Remember, with Danhausen, there is no swearing. Danhausen doesn't take any of Mike's shit and knows that he's psychic.
You expect everybody in this ring, in this arena right now, to suspend their disbelief and believe that I have psychic powers.
So that's basically going to be the whole premise of this match, as the crowd chants, Psychic Mike! Psychic Mike! Psychic Mike! Mike demands that they ring the bell. We hear a voice over the speakers.
Psycho Mike, this is your conscience speaking. Danhausen.
What the hell?
Has figured out your deepest, darkest secret. That you moonlight as a mind reader on a 1-800 hotline. The objective of this match is to take off his tinfoil hat and read his mind.
Psycho Mike tries an amazing tactic.
Take off your hat.
No!
I think that was his
I really
conscience.
thought that was gonna work.
He almost had him, but Mike keeps demanding that Danhausen takes off his Hathausen, but Danhausen says, some kid in the crowd tells the two to fight already, and Danhausen demands Mike listen to the boy. Mike and Danhausen start doing some rebounds off the ropes, all while Mike is screaming take off your hat with every run. Danhausen shuts Mike down with a drop kick, but oh no, Danhausen's hat has fallen off. Psycho Mike notices the hat and points at it while the fans chant for him to put it on. Mike is a generous guy, he gives Danhausen his hat back, but then he realizes his mistake.
Hey man, you dropped your hat.
Oh, thank you. This will be not the problem anymore.
That was awfully nice of him.
Danhausen makes sure that the hat won't fall off again as he pulls out a roll of tape and wraps the tinfoil hat back on his head. Danhausen starts taking Mike with a wrist lock, which Mike soon overpowers, and like a true professional wrestler, even when he gets knocked to the floor, he keeps eyes with the hard cam. Danhausen mounts on top of Mike and Mike shits his pants.
Psychic Mike!
Mike rolls to the outside and it's time for a little bit of tequila, but Mike shuts him down before the MP3 track can be played. Danhausen is angry and starts lighting up Mike with some body shots.
In with you!
No.
Mike overpowers Danhausen and starts repeatedly bouncing Dan's head off the apron, all while repeating 10. And then he starts timing his head slams with the referee's counting outside, but he stops before 9.
How is Danhausen still conscious, Mark?
It's time to read Danhausen's mind.
We are about to see what's in Danhausen's mind as Mike slowly removes the tape. Mike pulls off the hat and we hear tequila over the speakers, but that gets muted when Mike puts the hat back on. Mike takes the hat back off and Danhausen starts rising with the music, but then Mike shuts it down again. Danhausen then soon overpowers them and they both begin to dance to the music in the ring. They're both getting hella jiggy and Mike with some more hip thrusts to the music. Right on cue and target, Danhausen nails Mike in the face with a super kick. Danhausen covers Mike, but Mike is able to power Danhausen off of him at 2. Danhausen lights the crowd up by hitting the mat, and he goes crashing into the corner, and then Mike follows up with a pump kick into the corner. Mike rebounds with a big lariat.
Okay!
A violent clothesline from Psycho Mike.
It's time to take things seriously. Grizzly!
You already know that ain't gonna be the deal, as we hear a different voice over the speakers.
Oh, no! Very nice inside of your brain. Apparently Danhausen is psychic too. Isn't that nice?
Mike starts absolutely shitting bricks at the idea of Danhausen being psychic, and they start having a telepathic battle. Danhausen starts using his mind powers and sends Mike into the corner. They both continue to use their telekinesis and send each other into opposite corners. This absolutely devastating battle that we can't see almost concludes when the referee holds Mike's arms up for the 3-arm salute, but Mike gets up with his telekinetic comeback. Danhausen starts feeling the same treatment as Psychic Mike, but they both have a meeting of the minds where they both collapse due to the brain power being too much to bear. Danhausen goes for the pin.
Both men are down! Let's go for the pin! This is it!
Danhausen attempts another pin.
Don't touch me there!
They both try to go for another pin, but then they almost pin each other with a very synchronized shoulder up at 2. The crowd want Danhausen's teeth, but Mike has another plan.
If I can't beat you with my mind, I'm gonna beat you with my strength.
We have an exchange of forearms that goes back and forth for quite a while as they can read each other's minds, as you remember. They both throw a clothesline and then again they go off the ropes for a third collision. They both run off the ropes again and duck a clothesline that nobody throws. Another attempt and they stop in their tracks. Mike with a very manly scream.
Hey! How did you know I was gonna do that? I'm psychic! You're psychic? Of course I'm psychic! Hey! We're saying the same things! Quick! What's your favorite fruit? Banana! Pineapple! Grapefruit! Ah! This is crazy! Holy shit!
Mike just made the biggest mistake of his life because if you remember, ladies and gents, with Danhausen there's
No swearing! I did it! Swear!
Danhausen with the comeback hits a headbutt and then a big rising knee to Mike's face. Danhausen off the ropes and then he eats another pump kick right to the face from Psycho Mike. And now,
Time for murder! I'm gonna kill him for real! He's not getting up from this! No way, Jose!
Danhausen is literally Hulk Hogan because he kicks out at 1 at attempted murder. Kind of a great name for a finisher, not gonna lie.
Danhausen!
Psychic Mike!
Danhausen recovers off that with a German suplex and he calls for a dental plan for Psychic Mike.
No, I'm allergic!
Danhausen gladly kicks Mike in the face and Mike's teeth go flying into the front row. Danhausen has Mike where he wants him and plants Psychic Mike with the Danhausen DT and pins Mike for the 3 count. Good showing and sportsmanship from both of our wrestlers and then someone gives Psycho Mike a microphone.
You know, they always say you learn something new every day. Now I could say that I learned that you're a great wrestler, that you're a badass, a bad butt. But you know what I really learned today?
What?
That we're both psychic.
Yes!
A psychic brotherhood hug will conclude today's video. Got a weird ass wrestling match or something that made you witness a telekinetic battle during a wrestling event? Comment down below.
I may be